Do you ever think to yourself, the sane ones were the ones lying here having their brains removed? The insane one was Dr. Gorgas and all the other people?
No, I don't think that, because I think those people who killed here, they were very sane because they had their purposes.
If you met Dr. Gorgas today, what would you say to him?
I don't know. I don't think that it's my role to tell him something.
You know,
it's incredible.
May I ask you a question? Because you're Jewish. I watched this, and I thought I could feel the pain in you.
It was terrible.
It had to have.
It was horrible. And not right up the hill from where I had that interview, there is a cemetery where they buried the ashes of Jewish children, half-Jewish children, who were killed because they had one Jewish parent who had already been sent to a death camp, one Aryan parent who had been sent off to war or to forced labor. So that child was just a needless drain. They were never going to allow that child to live. So they just gave the child an overdose of drugs, killed him or her, and burned him to an ash, and put the ashes in that cemetery. And by the way, they have to have guards up all the time because neo-Nazis deface the graves.
So the point of the movie, and this is why you need to see it, the point of the movie is we've got to have a conversation. And I tell you, Ben, when I saw the movie, I walked away saying there's a big portion of America, and it's coming from these universities, that I don't even recognize anymore.
No, I don't recognize them either. They don't have any idea of the sacredness of human life. It all starts with the sacredness of human life, and then we work backwards and forwards from there. But if you don't start with the sacredness of human life, you're not getting anywhere.
More with Ben Stein, just a second.
Anyone? Something D-O-O economics. Voodoo economics.
Your dad was the guy that coined voodoo economics.
Well, I think he coined, I know he coined supply side. I'm not positive he coined voodoo. That might have come up from Bush 41. I think it did. My father definitely invented supply side. Not a fan of it.
That's amazing.
I know. He was a very original guy. He also thought up Stein's law, which is if a thing cannot go on forever, it will stop.
So you grew up in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, in Silver Spring, Maryland, a wonderful leafy suburb. And I went to high school at Montgomery Blair with Goldie Hawn, Connie Chung, and Carl Bernstein, and junior high school at Montgomery Hills with Sylvester Stallone.
So you're the wealthiest 1% that everybody talks about. You're the elitist.
Well, certainly 1%, but you're the top 100th of 1%. So you're the real elitist.
I don't know what you're reading. But your dad was an economic advisor for
Mr. Bush, sorry, Mr. Nixon and Mr. Ford, and also he was in a general way for Mr. Reagan, but not in any specific way.
Do you remember the first time you were at the White House?
Very well, very well. Indeed.
When you were little, or?
Well, no, I was already, I think, a law student, as a matter of fact, and we went on a Saturday for a worship service with a guy who was a very nice guy, who was a minister from Indianapolis, and then shortly thereafter I started work as a speechwriter. I was quite young. I was only 28.
And you were writing speeches for Nixon?
For Mr. Nixon.
For what?
About economics, mostly, and law. I wrote the first comprehensive energy policy speech that anyone had ever written. I wrote the first...
Give me the best line from that speech. See if you remember this classic America.
The best line was just the title, Project Independence, in which we said we said we'd make ourselves independent of foreign energy sources outside the North American continent by 1983. Didn't quite work out that way.
You know what? I think we actually did. I think we actually played that soundbite.
It didn't quite work.
No, yeah.
And when I saw Mr. Bush 43 give his speech recently about energy independence, it had every element that I had written about 30 years, 35 years earlier, plus a few were missing. He didn't even have as many as we had then. It's never going to work. I mean, that's the way the world is now. We're all energy interdependent, and we're going to be for a long, long time.
But we can be. Can't we be? Why can't we?
We can be. Sure.
So then why don't we do it?
We are energy interdependent. We could be energy independent, but it would take a mammoth national effort. I don't think we have the willpower to do it. Because look, if we try to disturb the giant masses of Earth surrounding all the coal and make coal into oil, I wouldn't mind. It doesn't bother me.
I'll drill through the head of reindeer. Santa's reindeer. Sorry, kids. Santa's reindeer. You hold them down, and I'll put the drill bit through their head to get the oil.
I don't know if I'll do that, but we do need the oil very, very badly. I agree entirely. We have enough coal to turn into oil and will last virtually indefinitely. We have enough nuclear, as Mr. Bush says, to last virtually indefinitely. I think we should do it. I love the environment, but I love the idea of being independent much more.
Look, I love the environment as well, but $10 a gallon for gasoline?
Oh, it's going to be more than that. You know,
Santa's rate. What does it take? What does gas have to be before you hold Santa's reindeer down to the ground?
I will never do it. Never do it. No,
never.
I would never do it. No, holding Santa's reindeer down to the ground and drilling.
All right, now maybe not Santa. Maybe not. Maybe it's an extra one, an old one. A useless one.
Depressed.
It doesn't. Yes, it doesn't really do as much for Santa anymore.
All right, that I'll do.
See, there you go.
Seriously, we could. You know what? Germany made itself virtually energy independent during World War II while it was being bombed 24 hours a day. We are not being bombed, except very rarely and horribly occasionally. But we can do it. We just don't have the willpower to do it.
Do you realize that Germany stayed afloat with coal to oil, exactly the same?
Bombed.
And you know what? Our military is making coal to oil right now because they want to be energy independent for the military to be able to have all of it being able to make right here in the United States of America.
I think it's a good idea. I mean,
it's a great idea, yet we won't do it for the general public.
I know. I keep thinking if we lose in Iraq, God forbid, if Iran takes over and dominates the Middle East, we're going to be in real trouble. What if Russia stops selling energy to Western Europe? You know, I think Russia at present has more domination over Western Europe than Stalin ever did.
Yeah, Reagan said, "Don't build the pipeline." They built it.
Yeah, and so now
here we are,
totally addicted.
Let me a total non sequitur here. Odds that you are deep throat. That's the rumor.
No, I'm not. No. First of all, I loved Nixon. I would never do anything against him. I loved him like a father. And second, I never knew anything very secret. When all that Watergate stuff was happening, I was a hippie, pot-smoking hippie in the woods of Santa Cruz, California. I wasn't even at the White House.
That was the rumor that you were deep throat.
I know. It was in Time magazine, but it's not even remotely close. The guy who claims he was deep throat has already admitted it.
Let's say you in a porno movie. Have you ever made a porno movie?
No, I've never made a porno. Where would you?
I thought maybe that's where the rumor came from. Maybe I thought.
I've never made a porno
that would be you and Joe Lieberman, an exciting ticket, and then Ben Stein's porno movie. I mean,
Ben Stein and Ann Coulter in a porno movie.
Ladies, wouldn't that be great?
No. Well, yeah. All right. No, I'm afraid not.
Okay. I'm just checking.
It's a good try.
All right. Back in a second with more Ben Stein.
That's very funny. That's extremely funny.
Bueller.
He's sick. My best friend's sister's boyfriend's brother's girlfriend heard from this guy who knows this kid is going with the girl who saw Ferris pass out at 31 Flavors last night. I guess it's pretty serious.
Thank you, Simone.
No problem whatsoever.
Fry.
How did you go from either acting in deep throat or being deep throat?
I wasn't deep throat. I wasn't even remotely deep throat. I would not do anything against Nixon for anything.
Isn't that exactly what deep throat would say?
No, I'm not deep throat.
Okay. How did you go from there to that?
I left the White House, got a column at the Wall Street Journal about entertainment. They sent me to Hollywood a lot. I loved the lifestyle out there. Norman Lear, whom I interviewed a number of times.
I'm sorry, I just don't see you.
Yes, I'm a Hollywood guy.
Really?
Hollywood, yeah. Well,
do you go to all the parties?
No.
Are you clubbing it with like...
No. I'm a Hollywood guy in the sense I like the weather. I like the freeways. I like the fact that you can swim. I have a very nice pool at my house, and I swim every day that I'm home, morning and night, no matter how cold it is. It's not cold in my pool, I assure you of that. And I love that, and I love the fact that you can do anything you want, and people don't expect much expectation they'll behave normally. But I love Washington, D.C. the most. Anyway, so the Wall Street Journal sent me to Hollywood. Norman Lear, whom I'd met a number of times, offered me a consultancy, $600 a week. I thought I was rich, and so I did that. And then
Norman Lear likes you?
Oh, yeah, he and I are great pals.
He hates me.
Oh, what a shock. But on the other hand, if you met him...
I have met him.
Well, he would like you if you met him.
I mean, what is...
I'm scratching my back. He would love you if he met you. And
I've met him.
Well, what did he say when you met him?
Nothing.
Well, I can introduce
Nothing.
you.
I didn't ask. I was just...
If you two want to come, if you want to come out to Hollywood, or sometime when you're there for a speech, I will arrange for you and Norman and me to have dinner.